This is my fifth video lesson for Unit 14. In this lesson, we'll be describing the Voltaic cell. There will be two PowerPoints on the Voltaic cell. This is part 1. Go to page 18 in the class packet. Motivation. How do batteries work? Do they store electricity? What is electricity? So electricity is the movement of electrons, and this is considered kinetic energy. Learning target. At the end of the lesson, I will be able to identify parts of a Voltaic cell and determine the flow of electrons. Homework be number 5, which will be a Junipod based off this lesson. So what is a battery? A battery is a chemical reaction that creates electricity. So what type of energy does the battery store? The battery stores chemical energy, which is a type of potential energy. Electrochemical cell is a device capable of either generating electrical energy, which is the Voltaic cell, or facilitating chemical reactions, which is the electrolytic cell. Voltaic cell or battery is also known as a galvanic or chemical cell. It is spontaneous. It converts chemical energy to electrical energy. Two half cells must be present in a Voltaic cell. Here's a diagram illustrating a Voltaic cell. For electrolytic cell, it is non-spontaneous and needs external power source. It converts electrical energy to chemical energy and is used to do chemical reaction and can be one half cell. Here's a diagram of electrolytic cell. This PowerPoint and the next PowerPoint will focus on the Voltaic cell and battery. PowerPoint 7 will focus on the electrolytic cell. Learning check number 1. Which energy change occurs in the operating Voltaic cell? Pause the video and resume as completed. The answer is choice 1, chemical to electrical. Now I'm going to go over the different parts of a battery or Voltaic cell. Here's our model. The first part is an electrode, which is a conductor, metal or non-metal, where oxidation and reduction occurs. This is where the reaction takes place. In the diagram, these are the electrodes. There are two electrodes in a Voltaic cell. One of them is called the anode, and the other one is called the cathode. The anode is where oxidation occurs, and cathode is where reduction occurs. Half cell contains the electrode in electrolyte solution. There are two half cells in a Voltaic cell. Half of the redox reaction occurs in each half cell, either oxidation or reduction. So if oxidation is occurring at this half cell, then the other half cell will be doing reduction. Electrolyte is a solution in the half cell that conducts electricity, usually is an aqueous acid or salt. The electrode or electrolyte usually have the same metal. This upside down U that connects both half cells is known as the salt bridge. It allows positive or negative ions to flow between the half cells in order to maintain electrical neutrality of the solutions and prevent polarization of the half cells. The wire allows electrons to move from one half cell to another. The load, which is over here, is a device that uses the flow of electrons to do something. This could be a voltmeter or light bulb. The switch, which is over here, completes the circuit, turned on and off. The wire, load, and switch is known as the external circuit. And this is the model of the Voltaic cell. Make sure you know how to label it and identify its parts. There are two types of electrodes, cathode and anode. Cathode is where reduction occurs, anode is where oxidation occurs. Here are two easy ways to memorize this. Red cat, reduction, cathode, anox, anode, oxidation. So in a Voltaic cell, does electrons flow from cathode to anode or anode to cathode? It actually flows from anode to cathode because the anode is losing electrons, because that's where oxidation occurs, while the cathode is gaining electrons, that's where reduction occurs. As you can see from this GIF, electrons are being lost at the anode, and a cathode is gaining electrons. From the periodic table unit, reactivity of metals means what? Metals typically lose electrons. So the more active the metal is, the faster it will lose electrons and more likely to be oxidized. Using table J, which metal is more likely to be oxidized or reduced? The more active the metal, the faster and more likely it will be oxidized. That will be lithium. Lithium is the most active on table J, therefore is more likely to be oxidized. Gold is the least active on table J, therefore is more likely to be reduced. Take a moment to watch a music video called Start at the Anode. The link to the video will be in the descriptions. This music video will help you understand how does a Voltaic cell work. Once you watch the video, resume this one. Learning check number 2. Reduction occurs at the what? Pause the video and resume as completed. Red cat. So the answer is choice 3. Reduction occurs at the cathode. Learning check number 3. When a Voltaic cell operates, ions move through the what? Pause the video and resume as completed. Ions move through the salt bridge. Learning check number 4. Which half reaction can occur at the anode in the Voltaic cell? Pause the video and resume as completed. Oxidation occurs at the anode, so the answer is choice 3. Choice 4 is wrong because conservation of charge is not observed. Learning check number 5. Given the balanced ionic equation representing the reaction in the operating Voltaic cell, the flow of electrons through the external circuit in this cell is from what? Pause the video and resume as completed. Electrons flow from anode to cathode, so the first step is to identify the anode and the cathode in this reaction. Anode is where oxidation occurs, cathode is where reduction occurs. Zinc is being oxidized and copper is being reduced, so zinc is the anode and copper is the cathode. So the answer is choice 3. Learning check number 6. Based on reference table J, which of the following elements is the most actively oxidized? Pause the video and resume once completed. When looking at table J, the most active element is the more likely to be oxidized. Sr is higher up on table J than the other elements, therefore is more likely to be oxidized. The answer is choice 2. Learning check number 7. Based on the activity series, which ion will oxidize Pb to Pb plus 2? Pause the video and resume as completed. The activity series is referring to table J on your reference table. One of these ions will oxidize lead to lead positive 2. Since lead is being oxidized in this redox reaction, this ion must be reduced. So we're looking for an element that is lower on table J than lead. That is copper. So the answer is choice 1. Learning check number 8. According to reference table J, which reaction would take place spontaneously? Pause the video and resume as completed. You must analyze the chemical equation. The first element is being reduced. The second element is being oxidized. The one that's being oxidized must be the more active element. So the answer is choice 2 because aluminum is more active than gold. So aluminum will be oxidized and gold will be reduced. For the practice, I would do the first 2 questions and then you can do the rest on your own. Let's look at question 1 on page 19. Label the anode and the cathode. Zinc is the anode and copper is the cathode because on table J, zinc is more active than copper. So zinc will be oxidized and copper will be reduced. So the flow of electrons will be from zinc to copper. The salt bridge is over here. In which half cell is reduction occurring? Reduction occurs at the cathode, red cat, so it's half cell number 1. In which half cell is oxidation occurring? It will be half cell number 2. Write the balanced half reaction that occurs in each half cell. Half cell number 1 will be reduction, half cell number 2 will be oxidation. For question 2, we're first going to label the anode and the cathode. According to table J, calcium is more active than zinc, so calcium is the anode and zinc will be the cathode. Electrons flow from calcium to zinc. The wire is over here. In which half cell is reduction occurring? Reduction occurs at the cathode, which is half cell number 2. In which half cell is oxidation occurring? That will be the anode, so half cell number 1. Write the balanced half reaction that occurs in each half cell. Half cell number 1 is oxidation. Half cell number 2 is reduction. Try to do the rest of the questions yourself. Pause the video and resume as completed. Here are the answers. This concludes the video lesson. Remember to do the Junipod homework.